Didn't go anymore. Right.
So that means anything you say is recorded.
Here's Ron.
Yes, recording in progress, guys. All right, guys, we're gonna get started. This is the first ever Realty One Group Central compliance training. So bear with me if there are issues. If you have anything to add, please let us know. So today we're gonna go over compliance related issues when it comes to listing requirements, MLS requirements, office rules, social media, and print advertising. This is the gist of what we feel that agents are not lacking, but maybe not fully grasping. And a lot of the times, agents come to me or Marcel or Christine one-on-one and we see issues. So the point of having this meeting is to get everybody on the same page. There have been some changes within the past year, and a lot of agents are not really fully up to date, so to speak. So we'll start out with the listing requirements, and you can stop me if you have any questions. The PowerPoint alone is not that comprehensive, but I'm going to talk about certain things more in depth. So if you need to go back to the recording, I will send it out to everybody. Okay, so let's start it. So listing documentation, hold on one second, how do I? So the listing documentation that's required for any listing in our office, at minimum, you need a listing agreement, the consumer information statement, and the dual disclosure. I will go into it real quick on zip forms, just so we can see. So I just want to briefly show you the items on zip forms that you need on the listing side. You will also see this in SkySlope when you have your transaction created. For the listing agreement, this was recently changed at the end of 2021, I believe it was, to update a couple of things. So on the listing agreement itself, you'll see here that the property information is on top, pretty self-explanatory. It's best to fill in all the boxes, even if they're meant to be blank. You could just put not applicable in there. This one I started, I have not finished yet. I have put in a sample listing agreement in every template on zip form. So if you need to go back and look at a Monmouth MLS listing agreement, you can do so. A couple of key points on here. The listing date needs to be the date that you put it into the MLS. So if you have a coming soon, or you have something that is coming up in a week from now, this listing date is the day that it's actually entered into the MLS. For example, if you put June 15th, you have until June 16th to get it into the MLS. You have 24 hours. So there's a little bit of confusion about that, especially with the coming soon. The coming soon is something that we could have a whole class on or a whole session on, but I will show you the website where you can find out more information. Next, on number 4 right here, this is the total commission on the sales side. This is what the office will charge the seller, and then our office splits it with the cooperating broker. Number 4 right here, it breaks down on number 9, which we'll get to. And with leases, you would put normally 1 month on this line right here. If you're charging less, you could put less, but this is the total lease commission. Okay. And then when it breaks down in 9 and 10, that's where it gets a little bit confusing for people. So the new item on this listing agreement is the dual agency. Dual agency should always match whatever you put in number 4 and number 5. Yeah.
Talk about number 6.
I will. Number 6, yes, okay. So this is the protection period, correct? Yeah. So what this means is, normally I put 30 days, you could put 60 days if you want. Essentially, if you are getting a listing and, correct me if I'm wrong, if I explain this not properly. If you get people that come to your listing, whether it's your own clients or other agents, and the listing expires, this says that if within 30 or 60 days, those same people come back, this listing agreement still applies. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Yeah, so it's basically a protection period for whatever clients come through during this listing period.
Only if they have to be listed with somebody else. Yeah.
No.
That gets to be a gray area.
No, it's a gray area, because
regardless,
you're
yeah.
talking about now about procuring costs.
Right.
Right.
Well,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if someone else. It could
That's your
be,
protection.
well, if they still want to sell it, they don't have to.
Recurring clause is the sticky wicket too.
Well, they don't have to sell the house. If they decide that they don't want to sell
This
anymore.
is, the whole point of this
Yeah.
is to prevent somebody at the end of a list,
Yeah.
right? To say, come back to me in a week, we'll work something out.
Exactly.
Right, but I thought if they listed with somebody else, then that's. I think you're right.
Not if it's the same
I
client.
believe,
The contract.
how do you know that? I believe, no, I believe
You
that
have the written
that's,
contract that has the protection on
I don't think so.
it. It does-
We
It's
should
not
double
null and
check
void.
that. I will
If the
check
same
that.
people come back,
Well,
I
read
think if
the
you,
language.
I think
the
if you
answer is-
list your house with somebody else, that's,
If you look at the middle of this, it
Go
says,
ahead.
however, the owner shall not be obligated to pay such commission with a bona fide listing agreement is entered into during the protection period with another licensed real estate.
There's your answer.
there you go. Okay, then.
Somebody else voice that.
Yeah.
So if they list
Or it should have run-
10 days later. Right,
No, that's only if they don't list the house.
if they don't list the house,
Expires,
gotcha.
And they
Okay.
don't list with somebody else, they have 30 days, somebody comes back and they buy the house.
So you
Right.
put 30 days in there, or is it
You
60?
can make-
I-
you can make
I
that
put
be
30, you
more,
can
but
put
you're
whatever.
right. The purpose of this is to prevent a seller from cutting you out of the deal. That's
Right.
the whole
That's all the
purpose.
point.
Right, so they don't list with somebody else, but these people come back and then they say, well, now we're a FISBO.
Right, that's the point. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Yeah,
Where if that's going out, I'm not paying you.
yeah.
No, right.
So
Come-
I'm gonna put the deal together
Right, come
a
back,
week after.
the listing's expiring in 2 weeks, come back and then we'll make a deal.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so going down to number what is it, 8 and 9. So these essentially give you the permission of advertising the address on the MLS and putting a lockbox. Pretty self-explanatory on that end. So going back to 9 and 10, the total commission is broken down on these lines. So the first box in number 9 is the portion that the listing agent will be getting. Next line, the sub-agents, which we normally don't put. But if you have a sub-agent commission that you're offering out, what exactly does sub-agent mean? If
If
you're-
you're buyer's agents acting on behalf of the seller.
But is that different than the buyer agent commission?
Yeah, it's totally different.
Oh, acting on behalf of the seller.
So say they walk,
Gotcha.
like they usually use it for, don't they, like a builder, you walk
Okay,
into Toll
yeah.
Brothers, right?
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
about the only time
It's
you
an
use it.
example, right?
Right. Normally, in your normal business, I don't think I've seen anybody ever use a sub-agent.
No.
Um,
And I-
right, and you put NA in that box. So dual agency would be the same amount as you would put in total commission for 4 and 5. If it's a sale, because you can't think of it as just yourself. Dual agency could take place if it's another agent in our office. So if you're making a deal with the seller that if you bring the buyer, you'll give them a discount, that would go down here in the remark section.
Becomes a variable rate commission.
Is that what variable rate means?
Yeah.
That is-
Or variable rate means if the price is,
It means
No.
if you're on
No, that's
acting on
what-
behalf of both and you're offering a discount.
that's what variable rate means? But also if, isn't variable rate if the owner gets,
Well, that's net listing or gross listing.
is that what?
If you split it unequally, that's not variable rate commission.
No, let's say if the owner gets
300.
300 for the house, they'll give 4% commission.
That's not variable
Yeah.
either. That's
That's
just a
not
rate
variable?
structure.
That's just a rate structure. Always confuses me.
You
Yeah.
can't do a net listing.
No, not listing is different.
In Jersey, but variable rate is if you're gonna change your commission for any reason, that's the variable rate. You make a note that if
Mhm.
you listing agent will reduce the commission by a half point if you bring, both buyer and
Right.
bring the buyer. That's the variable
Right,
rate.
but very important, we've had instances where it's really important to note that dual agency is the office, it's not you. So if you're telling them that if we're dual agent, you're essentially cutting out the other, you have to be very specific with that, very important. So as a rule of thumb, number 4 should always be the same number that goes in dual agency. Okay,
And oftentimes, probably more often than not, on the listing in the MLS, you'll see it done wrong almost
Yeah,
all the
nobody
time.
knows.
yeah, on
Nobody
Mama's MLS,
understands.
they don't really, on Mama's MLS, they don't really enforce.
Yeah, they don't monitor.
And most people put 0 for seller commission. You're essentially just telling the other side what the buyer commission is. That's really the only reason people look at it.
Well, essentially, it's up to the managing broker to review the listing agreement to make sure that they're done correctly.
The listing agreement, yes, but the MLS, the agent can put whatever they want. We cannot,
But
But
it should
it's
be
not
the
like the
listing
listing.
agreement.
But
It should be the same.
it should, but nobody monitors it. That's my
That's what I'm
concern.
saying. It's
Central
up to-
Jersey monitors it and they fine you.
And they
So,
don't even have sub-agent commission.
No.
Because it's so confusing, nobody
Mhm.
understands it, so they just took it off.
right. So I'm going over Monmouth forms today. Different listing agreements are a little bit quirky, a little bit different. So you have to look at each one. There's Garden State, there's Central Jersey. Bright doesn't have a listing agreement. They honor, I guess they honor the Monmouth Ocean. And Hudson as well. I don't think they require you to submit one. Central Jersey, Garden State, they require you to upload the listing agreement. Monmouth does not, but they do spot check. So they'll audit the office and then we have to provide them the listing agreement.
Yeah, and if you're taking a listing in any of these other MLSs areas, if you're taking a listing, say, you're putting a listing agreement for Central Jersey, because our home,
Mhm.
our office, our home board is MORR, you must make another listing agreement for MORR.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
They
Did
changed
they
that.
relax
Yeah.
They changed that. They,
They said, if the property is in that county.
yeah, I'll go
then
over
you
that.
need it.
Right.
But if the property is not in that county, then they don't.
Right.
Okay, I thought
Like
that-
if you're
Right.
living in Middlesex County,
Right.
you don't have to put it in.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's MLS requirement.
You have to put it in Monmouth. You have to put it in Monmouth. You have to. put the
Right, I'll go over
listing
that. I'll go over that on the
If
next
the
slide.
property is in Middlesex County,
Right.
That's the only
because
thing.
I'll give you an example. So we have an agent, right,
Right,
that is part of the Monmouth board,
right.
but has Middlesex MLS. and does business only in Middlesex.
Right,
So if they list a house, say in South Brunswick,
right.
they don't have to put it in Monmouth.
They don't have, well, I'll go over it on the next slide. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, yeah. So back to listing documentation. I did go over it on the zip form slide. Can everybody see this? Yes, it's shared, okay. So pick a slide. The breakdown we went over, make sure total commission and DDAC match. Try to fill in as many fields as you can. On zip forms, if it doesn't allow you to enter into a field, just hit the space bar twice. That's a little trick on zip forms. It will take the formatting away. And then you could just put NA in there. Again, the listing agreement, the CIS, and the dual agency form are at minimum. Those are the items that are required. If you have a seller disclosure, lead paint, what else? Well, septic, those are buyer forms because they still have to be signed by the buyer. So those don't go on Sky Slope under the listing documentation. They go on the buying side. So we can go over that more in depth when on the Sky Slope training. Okay, so next slide. So MLS requirements, again, every MLS is different, but generally, these are the items that apply to all of them. So as Marcel was saying, every listing must be entered into the MLS of the listing jurisdiction. So if you have a house that's located in Monmouth Ocean, it must be entered in Monmouth Ocean. If you have a house located in Middlesex, it absolutely must be in Middlesex.
And just to interrupt,
Yeah.
this office has all 8 MLSs.
Yes,
So if the office is a member of the MLS, whether the agent is a member or not, it must be entered into the MLS.
yes,
So even if somebody does not have that MLS and takes a listing in Cape May, we still have to put it there because as an office, we have.
Right. Right.
And
So
you can do it as an
As
office
an
member,
office, yeah.
and the agent doesn't have to join just for that one.
Yes,
That is
the
correct.
broker has to.
the broker can enter it, and all fines will come back to the agent. That's just prefacing it. Normally, they take the fines away. Some MLSs are more strict than others. Very important, if you have Hudson, it's important to look what's in Hudson, what's in NJMLS. It's a little bit confusing. And we can help you out with that if you have any questions. Going along with that, if you put a listing into Middlesex, you should put the Middlesex lockbox or a combo. You cannot just put the Monmouth lockbox. And yeah,
Yes.
And vice versa,
agents
too.
Are very on top of their game, they would complain.
right. And some towns are kind of on the border, like Monroe. So some agents, it's Middlesex, but if you're putting it in Monmouth and Middlesex, some Monmouth agents don't have Middlesex. So put both lockboxes or put a combo. Yeah.
No, not good.
Well, if you put it into the MLS, if you put it into Garden State MLS, you have to put that lockbox.
Yeah.
That's Middlesex.
Okay. We went over this. Listing agreements are required to be submitted to some MLS systems. Middlesex, GSMLS. I don't know about South Jersey, if they do or not, but we can, if you have any questions, let us know. Okay, I know we have someone getting a listing, I think in Cape May. Cape May, we just joined, correct? So we're looking into all the requirements as well. The coming student status, so let's go look at that real quick.
MLS is now- I thought it was not. So get rid of one.
No, I think there is.
In North Jersey, is there something that we're not part of? North,
So
North,
we have Hudson, MJ, Garden State.
what about like North Jersey that no, what's that? Where Sparta is,
Like
That's,
northwest
yeah,
is Garden
that's MJ. and
that's on your MLS?
I'll have to look it up. There used to be 9. 2 of them may have merged.
could be, yeah.
Okay, so the coming soon status, very controversial, a lot of rules. The main gist of the coming soon status is for Monmouth, it's a 7-day coming soon. I believe for Middlesex it's 14, if I'm not mistaken. For Bright, I believe it's 31 days or 30 days. So each one is different. So it's best to know the rules before you take the listing. This is the Monmouth coming soon status page. It goes well in depth onto what you cannot do, the benefits, their enforcement. If you take a coming soon listing, very important to tell the seller that they cannot even show the home to anybody. If somebody drives by, wants to come in, they're not allowed to. Essentially, it's violating clear cooperation. I've heard of people getting in trouble for this because listings hit the market as a coming soon, and the first day that it goes active, it's gone. And that's when agents complain. So it really, in my opinion, there is a benefit to it, but if you can't enforce the compliance, shy away from it. That's my take on it. And if you have any questions, please ask us before you go ahead and take it. There's a separate addendum for the coming soon on zip forms. It's part of the amendment form. So if you go on the amendment form, the last portion of it, there's a coming soon addendum. So this has to be uploaded to the MLS as well. Okay.
So would you, if you did that, would you put the date in the listing agreement?
The date is
of
the
coming soon date?
No, you put the date that you're putting it into the MLS. So that's a good question. That's let's say I'm taking a listing today as a coming soon to go live on the 20th. The listing agreement would be today. The list date is the commencement date because you're putting it into the MLS on this date. And then this form will tell you the showing date.
Oh, okay.
The showing date will be the 20th. And then when you put it on the MLS, the whole point is so it goes to Zillow, Realtor.com. But at the same time, just know that there are rules that you have to follow. And nobody should be showing the house before everybody can show the house. I think that's the main point. Yeah.
Rahmeet, I just wanted to go back to one point. You were saying with the Bright 30 days for coming soon. I just
believe
wanted a little clarity on that one.
Yeah.
So does that mean you have to have it up in the MLS for like 30 days as coming
No,
soon?
maximum.
Oh, okay. Is there a
You can do coming
minimum?
soon for 2 days if you want, but yeah, if you go into Bright and you look up any like town, you'll see they're coming soons, and the active date will be like 3 weeks away. So
Okay.
maximum of 30 days. That's what I meant.
Okay. Is there a minimum?
No, there's no minimum. And then in Monmouth MLS, there's also another status called hold, which essentially is for listings more than 7 days away, but less than 30. I think the maximum is 30 days. So if you have a listing that might be coming in 3 weeks and you have a listing agreement signed, you can put it into hold status.
But you can't
Oh,
advertise.
right.
But you
Okay.
can't have it. The hold status is essentially telling every other realtor that you have the
I
listing.
think the reason the whole status came on is because the coming soon was produced.
Right.
And after
And
7
then needed
days, if the
something.
seller's not ready, then you
Yeah.
can't change it back to go away.
And then
so
if
it was
something,
on hold.
and I think we have to check the hold status page So we don't solicit those listings. So once they have a listing agreement signed and it's on that page, you're technically not supposed to go after those listings. So technically, yes.
Yeah, the whole purpose of these strict rules with coming soon status, offices, agents in particular, used to take a listing trying to get both ends out.
Of course,
That
and they
was,
still
that
do.
was all they were up to.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the best interest of the seller at all.
And
So
that's
that's
the
why
office
they had to come
exclusive,
up with
which
these
is a
rules.
whole other conversation, which is.
Because
been
people
very
confused the two, coming soon and office
Yeah.
exclusive, and they don't know
Office
which ends
exclusive
is
is
up.
being discussed very heavily with Twitter. So.
Yeah, office exclusive is completely Completely wrong.
useless. It's meant to be for people like celebrities who don't want people to come
Or
into their
older people,
home.
or
So
people who
but
are
it's-
sick or
it has to
whatever.
be initiated by the seller.
Yeah.
You can never
Can't suggest.
suggest.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
But then how do they even know that there's such a thing?
Yeah.
They have to
I
bring it
mean,
up.
unless they say, oh, you show it to everybody or bring some kind of a conversation,
Yeah,
then you can say, would you be okay to just show it to my office?
Yeah.
But not, but that's like another whole big conversation that's brewing in NAR
right.
that might go away, I feel like.
Yeah, there are a lot of offices that I'm sure you know, that are heavily involved with office
You're not
exclusive.
allowed to even put a
Which-
sign in that case,
It
but
makes
people
no
do put a
sense.
sign.
They tried pushing it and a lot of pushback because it's not.
It's not in the best interest
Yeah,
at
you're not
all.
supposed to advertise this.
And at the end of the day,
Even if they sign a waiver.
Yeah.
They still don't understand. It's hard enough to explain a CIS.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
right. And it's, at the end of the day, it's not in the best interest of the people working and the listing agents, because they're not gonna get the maximum dollar amount,
Yeah.
which means you're not gonna get the best commission.
You can't get it out
So-
of the masses.
So, yeah, exactly. So,
Unless the waiver is for it, no.
yeah, doesn't make sense. Okay. Lastly, status changes must be done in a timely manner. So this is another item that was changed on Monmouth MLS recently. They added the active under contract status. If you do not change the status when you go into attorney review, now you have to get something signed saying that you are taking it straight to pending status, which is also in the amendment form. I don't know if they've really started to, come down on this yet. But essentially, if you go straight from active to pending, you have to get this signed. And
Otherwise, it would go from active.
to attorney review,
So is that because for people who don't want to show the house anymore?
What was
Yes.
happening was, because it was going so fast paced, that people would list the house on a Friday, it'd be sold by Saturday, or they would list the house on a Thursday, it'd be sold by Friday. And the agents were putting it pending, and the sellers were getting upset, well, you should still market my property, you should still do my open house for this stuff.
Right.
right?
And they started putting complaints. that the
Middlesex
agents-
has attorney review, we did not have the attorney review.
So attorney review is still, the MLSs don't look at it as attorney review as a status.
Yeah.
They look at it as a process, yeah. So whether it's before you go into attorney review, or some agents leave it active even during attorney review. If you go, how they're gonna look at it is, if you go from active to pending and you don't have that form signed, they're gonna fine you. Whether it's before review or after,
They just want to make sure the seller wants
Was
it
okay
shown.
with, right.
So if the seller wants it shown,
right,
then you have to get the seller's
Right.
signature that they still want it shown, even during the review.
right. But, and then if
Working with
you,
a buyer, you would want the other side. You'd want it to be
You
locked
want it
up.
to be
as soon
locked
as it's
up.
signed.
Yeah.
And that's the real purpose of this pending thing. It says it's off the market.
Right.
More show.
but if you, I don't know what happens if you forget to put it into review and you go,
But
You-
this is on
You
the
have to
seller
get, you
side.
have to get the addendum signed.
you have
This
to get
has
it
to be
signed.
signed
You
by
have
the
to get it
seller.
signed, correct. If you're
What
going
I'm-
straight, even if it's
what I'm
after
saying,
the
if you're
fact.
working with a buyer,
have to
you would
get
want the
the-
seller to do this.
Yeah.
But what if you put it in review for a day after you're out of review?
Part of the negotiation.
They're not gonna know. That's what I'm telling people to do. Because they can't go back and get the sign,
Right.
or they don't want to.
They don't want it.
Marie, what's the name of this form?
The amendment form. Middlesex has their own amendment form.
So just one other comment on this.
Yeah.
When you're getting the seller to sign the agreement contract, you should ask them if they want this or not.
Yes,
And if
Upfront?
yeah, I always do. And yeah,
but it depends on what the offer is, I think, too.
yeah, if it's not a good offer, you're not gonna suggest this.
Yeah.
But if it's at the asking price or maybe more, and let's say it's an older couple, they don't want people coming through their house anymore.
Right,
You can say, well, we can stop all this activity if you're totally happy with this contract. You get rid of the
Right.
sign.
Put it into pending, you mean? To
I think
put it in pending right away, yeah,
So that's when it needs to be signed?
yeah. Or even after the fact, if you forget to put it into attorney review. Because I know Steve did one, I told Steve to put it into review for a day,
Yeah.
even after you added review. Because he didn't want to get it signed. I don't know if that's right, I don't think it is, but you have to put it into review at least for a day. It's a interesting conversation because I have a listing right now. It's still in the active status and we're under contract. I don't know if I should tell her to put it under contract.
Just understand, like
Yeah.
when officers get audited, right, they will look at the history.
Right,
And if they see that it went from active to pending, the first thing they're gonna ask for is this.
right,
Nice. I'm gonna write that down.
So just make
And we'll
sure.
also look, if the contract is signed on the 15th and there's no change in the status and now it's the 20th,
right,
they'll say, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Because it should be the same day or the day after.
right.
So the day you're signing the contract, you either need to do one of two things, put it active under contract or pending.
And if you can't do it, call us and we'll do it for you. But we don't know what's going on.
Changing the stats.
Yeah, if you're on the road and you think you're gonna forget, I've done it for other agents. Just, it's important because we don't know
It
when,
has to be done within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Nothing's like it has to be done
no,
right away.
that's true, it has to be that, but a lot of agents don't do it because it continues to be shown on Zillow. They're continuing to get calls,
Yeah, and
especially
it's a
rentals.
and That's the whole reason.
That's the whole reason, yeah,
Well, and even if it's off the market, if you get another offer, you still have to present it.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
yeah,
Even
of
if it's
course,
under contract, you still have to present.
Till
Yeah.
the day it closes.
Right.
Till the day it closes.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you say highest and best, we're not accepting any more offers, well, doesn't matter. We still.
I think
accept your
we're
offer.
out of that stage now,
No,
thankfully.
Yeah, I think
you
it's
still
not-
probably get
But
them.
still, yeah. Yeah, that really doesn't matter. And highest and best, you could still negotiate. I've had people counter on my highest and best. I don't know why agents think that highest and best means final and best. The seller can still do whatever they want. It doesn't mean that they cannot counter. I had one agent like my terms, but we were $2,500 less. So she asked us to come up and we did. So I think talk to the other agents. That's really important. There's some agents out there that think highest and best is like the be all end all. It really is not. And there's no rule saying that you have to take the highest and best offer. The seller can do whatever they want. They could counter, they could
Not take any
They could not
offer.
take any offer, they could decide not to sell their house.
And that's where we
Yeah.
come in and help them make
Yeah, but there are
decisions.
agents out there that don't understand.
I think the misnomer is the highest. Distance, though. You know, you gotta
Right,
go.
and you could still, yeah, exactly, terms could be much more important than $2,500. So that's why they came back to us and this was in the beginning of COVID where people did whatever you had to do. This is Horace's house. So we just had our 1-year anniversary on that house. So back to, and that's where a good agent comes in too. So on the selling side. Okay. Next up, we have office rules.
Rahmeet, I do have a quick
Yeah.
question.
Sure.
So go back to that slide, the previous slide.
Mhm.
It says, listing agreements are required to be submitted to some MLS systems. which MLS systems in particular? And are we talking about the doc section where all realtors would see it?
No. So Middlesex MLS requires you to either, I think, email it to them or upload it when you're listing it. Garden State as well, they have a separate upload process. Monmouth MLS does spot audits for the office. So you just have to upload it onto SkySlope, which is fine.
Every listing agreement must be in the office.
Right. On zip forms or
Right.
on, if you get your listing agreement signed by hand, please upload them on zip forms. Because even if you don't have it on SkySlope yet and we get audited, we need the listing agreement. So your listing agreements, especially because most people get them signed by hand, upload those on SkySlope right away, or at least put it into zip forms. Because if we get audited, we have to make sure that we have that documentation. Right. We're gonna talk about SkySlope a little bit on the next slide, so. Okay. So for the office rules, when you guys all were onboarded, you should have had received the welcome handbook. This is the rules and regulations for the office. I'm not gonna dive into the entire thing today, but please take a look at that. If you need a copy of it, reach out to us and we'll send you a copy. Going back to the MLS, we strongly encourage, if you have the MLS system, I should say, every listing should be in Monmouth MLS. This is good for the office. It's good for your exposure as well for the listing, because we have a lot of people looking in North Jersey and, especially investment properties. It doesn't really matter where it's located. So if you have a listing in, let's say, Somerset County or Hudson County, Bergen County, put it into Monmouth MLS. There's no charge.
And plus your production stays there because.
And your production
primary board is Monmouth, to keep your production in one place.
Yes.
It's easier to see your ranking, to make sure
Yes.
if you have a status in the MLS, it'll be counted towards it.
Right.
On
And-
the buyer side, you can't, because if you're selling a house in Somerset County, you can't have it in
Mhm.
Plex, but at least what's in your control, put it in Plex.
What if I'm selling something in Sussex?
If you sell something, it's gonna stay in Sussex.
It has to be in that MLS too.
So it would go in Monmouth too?
No,
Yes.
Well, you could, yeah.
no, if you have a listing, yes,
Yeah.
you can put it,
Yeah.
you should put it in Monmouth. But if you have a buyer, you cannot.
Yeah. What MLS is Sussex?
Sussex up there's Garden State.
I think Sussex is,
I think it's
Garden
Garden
State? Okay. Yeah, some of those areas confuse me. Which
Yeah,
one's the
it's
primary?
weird. We took a listing in Montclair and we put it into Garden State. But we didn't put it into NJMLS and we got fined because it needed to be in both.
Right.
Some place you have to have it.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Some have two primaries?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so attending our, I'm sorry, going back to, sorry. So 100% agents are responsible for their own signage. Going back to your contract, when you signed up with us, if you're 70-30, you can borrow the office signage. But as a 100% agent, you're really running your own business. We want you to market yourself within the office guidelines. So spend that $200 to get 3 signed. It's not overly expensive. 200 for 5 signs, plus the frames and things.
Right.
So a few $100 to set yourself up for 5, 7, 10 years, depending on what you get. It's an investment in your own business. So having your name, your picture, your phone number will bring you more business down the line, and it gets your name out there, right? That's what you want. That's why you're part of this company, to build your own business. Attending our weekly trainings and our office meetings will keep you up to date with what's going on. We've had a lot better turnout over the past month for sure. And we really appreciate, everyone, showing up. And we could bombard you with WhatsApp messages and emails, but until you're here and actually taking part, it's not going to hit home. And we really appreciate that people are starting to come more into the office. Sky Slope. So when you get a listing or when you are under contract on the buying side, we expect you to have your Sky Slope created. It really will make your life a lot easier when it comes time to get paid. We cannot process your check until the Sky Slope is done. It really keeps us compliant. Everything's in one place.
That doesn't mean you have to put all your documents right
Right.
there.
Right.
Just create the
Get started.
transaction.
Right.
Create the
Just put
transaction.
in. That gives us an idea of how many transactions are in the pipeline.
Right.
And for you, it'll be easier down the road. Your transaction is already created. And as soon as you create a transaction, you get an email address for each transaction. So you can keep on forwarding those documents that come from the attorney, your inspection report, whatever, to that email address, and it'll sit in that folder for you. So you don't have to keep on tracking it down.
And if there's a nice checklist in it too. So
Yeah.
you know when you get close to
And
it.
Let me see if I
you can also launch your Move Easy as well, if you are gonna be utilizing that for your clients.
Actually, I'm gonna.
The concierge service is launched.
Yeah, so, for those of you who have not looked at Sky Slope yet or are not familiar with it, contact me. I could sit down with you, come into the office. It really is not a tough process. It's just something you have to do and you'll get used to it. I don't think anybody thinks Sky Slope is difficult to do, but if you leave everything to the last minute, you're gonna hate yourself and you're gonna hate us for making you do it. But if you started in the beginning, add documents as they come along, it's really not that bad.
Once you're in contract, out of attorney review, you've got almost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, outside of your AR and, yeah. Oh, no, yeah, AR too, you have that. Yeah. Okay. So any questions on office rules or anything at all that we've went over so far?
That's something.
Is that something? Oh. Another rule that always needs to be added. We did cover this. I don't know who asked this question. But yes, all listings should be put into the Flex MLS system.
Rahmeet, actually, I do have another question.
Yes.
The part where it says status changes must be done in a timely manner. I know we went over the active, under contract, and the pending, but if it were like a back on market type of thing, does that need to be also, not necessarily, not the status change itself, but is there a form that we need to fill out and upload anywhere?
No, so back on market, they don't, there's no way of them to enforce it, I would say. And that's really on you if you even want to put it back on the market. If you have backup offers, you could just switch the agent that's under contract. So if you're putting it back on market, there's no requirement to. It's really up to your seller. Because people do have backup offers and you do have the ability just to change the agent that's under contract, if that makes sense. Does that
Yep,
answer your
thank
question?
you.
Okay. That was right.
Yeah, it does, thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right. All right, social media. This will be relatively quick. For social media guidelines, we're really stressing that you get something on schedule with Vez and Jiju as soon as you get onboarded with us. We've seen a lot of people's social media accounts that are not up to date. They don't have Realty One Group on there. Their phone number is not on there. You know.
Even worse, they still have their previous company on there.
That's what I meant, yeah. So, and there's still some people that have been with us for over a year that still have their previous brokerage. And if we see it, we will reach out to you and we'll get it remedied. But we cannot see everything. So it's up to you to make sure that, you know, as you get onboarded, to Google yourself, look up what's coming up. And especially if you're been in the business for over, you know, a few years.
Don't Google yourself, your clients are Google
Yeah.
you, so make sure they see
Right.
what you want them to see.
And there are gonna be things that you don't even remember that you did. And, you know,
Be
it,
very professional.
yeah, be professional.
Don't get into arguments. and don't
Yeah,
get
that's
into-
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So,
Like a lot of stuff, like if you have on social media
Mhm.
that you're doing, a lot of it, like I didn't even realize that I could go into the, I forgot, I could go into the back end of
Yeah.
my social media company and fix it myself. So my son told me 3 times,
yeah,
Mom, what is wrong? And he was blaming my social media company.
No, so especially even like LinkedIn, everybody forgets about it. It's
Yeah.
very, very important because
right.
as a professional, you have to look good there.
Yeah.
And.
And then when you make an update, it comes up. Like if you change your job on Facebook, it comes up. And then everybody sees that you switch brokerages.
Yeah.
So it's good. If you do it a year later, it's not good, but so that I would hide. But yeah. And take advantage of the post and the branding material that corporate gives us. On the branding website, you can visit the branding website right here. There's a lot of material on here that you could take advantage of, post it on your own pages, as well as, what was this website called? I have the website here. Yep, right here. This is another website that corporate created. Why is it not working?
Go back out and do it again.
Everyone is,
One is awesome.
I spelled it right, right? Yeah. Oh, well, maybe not. I'll look into this and I'll update everybody. It was working yesterday, so. Take advantage of their content because if you can't think of something that's fresh or on topic, there are other offices, there are other, even corporate that you could make it your own. It's really not that difficult to do so. And Red and Juju can definitely help you on that end. If you've attended any of their trainings, you know that Juju has a lot of tools that can, you know, enhance your social media as well.
There's also a new podcast, Realty One Group podcast
Mhm.
that launched a couple weeks ago, and content on YouTube as well.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff that corporate puts out, and
And just share it.
And just
You
share
don't
it.
have to put it or
Yeah.
save it or anything, just share it.
Just like it.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like and share, like.
Yeah.
Google puts a lot of content, Kathy Baker puts a lot of. content.
right,
And make sure you follow these people.
right.
They're the corporate people.
So
that-
leading up to the next slide.
And then.
Push.
one of-
Yeah. Sure.
Target your profile and zone.
Yeah.
Make sure you get your picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if did we go over this?
Just so you know, I tried to update photos on our website, people who didn't have them in there. If you don't like the photo that I chose, go in there and replace with one that you do like.
You can do it with an
Right.
iPhone. You don't have to hire a
Yeah.
photographer.
Nice.
You
Yes.
do a good
Yeah.
job.
100%. More importantly, also your profile, your bio, your social media tags or whatever they're called. Once you put them in there, they flow through to the rest of your zone account.
It syndicates everything.
So your profile syndicates to your website, to your One Design as well. It really starts in your bio and your profile, if you have any designations. So they've done an amazing job of connecting everything, but you have to do the work and put that information in.
And also too, remember, this is also branding, right? So I mentioned this to somebody else. I think they put like in front of 1,000 kids, just the McDonald's arches. And every single one of them knew what that was. Didn't have the name or anything. They knew that was McDonald's.
course.
You know, when it comes to your branding, it should be all uniform, right?
Right.
Because that's your brand. You can change it up and stuff, but it really should be uniform so that people, you know, it's synonymous. Your brand with your name, with who you are.
Mhm.
I had this conversation. I was just buying breakfast the other day, and a lady goes, I know you from somewhere. And I joke around with them, you know, because I get it a lot. And I go, oh yeah, I was on TV last night. You didn't see me? She started laughing. I said, no, I do real estate. You probably saw my advertisements out there. I list homes and work with buyers. She's like, that's where I saw you.
Yeah.
You know, it happens.
And if you want to brand yourself with a logo or anything like that, come and talk to us. We
Once
could,
I was in Asbury
Yeah.
Park, a lady just was walking by me and she, oh, is that the realtor?
yeah, they probably,
Your branding's working.
and your signage, you don't know how many people look at your lawn sign, right? So brand them to you. I put this sign right by the Street property a few days later. I'm still getting calls.
Yeah.
I had to take it off on Saturday to put it somewhere else because my new signs are not in yet. But the point is, spend that money and you don't know what's going to come of it. Right? That $300-400 will pay itself over
100%.
10 times over.
And make sure they look fresh. If you have a beat up sign,
Yeah.
replace
Yeah.
it.
And order extras because they do get beat up. We live in a not so friendly environment state. Especially yeah, we're not in Arizona where it's beautiful every day. Signs do get
There's
ruined.
another thing about signs, make sure you drive by and look at them yourself.
Yeah. Make sure they're
It's a really
positioned.
windy day and it knocks your sign over, what's that say?
Yeah.
Well, not just that. I put up a sign and one lady took my sign down and put it in her backyard. She took and it was,
I mean, the owner?
no, I had put it off of Route 27. My first listing I had last year, I had put up that, you know, the home sale is this way. And I had taken permission from the lady because the homes are right on the main road. I said, may I put the sign here? So after a month or so, I think she got tired and she put it away just as the property was closing. And I was like, do you know where my sign is? She's like, yeah, I put it in the garage. I was like, can I have it back? Like,
Like people who were gonna be FISBOs, steal the directional signs and cover them over with white paper and put their own open house.
Right.
No, people, competitors steal your signs too. Oh, yeah. As a lot of times my sign are stolen, especially I had a listing in Cedarville. 3 times I put a sign, every time it was gone. So obviously somebody
Right.
was stealing it. It's
Mhm.
just probably.
What goes on. I had teenagers steal my sign once out of one yard, and just as a prank, they put it in somebody else's yard.
I had a sign.
And it was
Did you drive by?
Well, no, the owner of the new place called me and said, does this have phone? I said, yeah. I said, well, what's your sign doing in our yard? And they said, well, where do you live? And they were like, I said, I'll be over and meet with you and use it as a listing opportunity. By the way, if you're ready to sell your house. You know,
Somebody pranked me into doing that. Took a house from Mama's Heights that they had listed, must have been kids, and put it on my front yard. And my seller said, you know, your sign got stolen. And it was, you know, a good sign. And we looked out the window, it was on our front yard.
And then I had to hire these kids and let them.
Yeah, put them all over the place.
Yeah, they put them all over, yeah.
Is there a sign back that gives signs?
There is a service, I was looking into that. There is a service, I think they used to charge $50 a listing. It's probably gone up now with the price of gas, but I forgot what the service was called. I have to look into it.
The guy in Meadow does it too.
He does it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they do is they go put the post in, you just hang your sign, then you call them when your listing is
And
done.
they store your post. too.
They store it.
Yeah.
So you can buy the post, they'll store them for you. I know the Matawan guy does
Yeah.
it. We'll look into it. We'll let you know. Cause I know a lot of agents want that. They just want that done for them.
Just get it done.
Right. Any other questions?
You got somebody in the chat. Again. That's, you know,
So, just one thing, Ramit, I tried to go to everyoneisawesome.com. It's not.
Yeah, I'm
coming-
gonna look. Yeah, I'm gonna look into. I'm gonna ask corporate why it's not working.
Okay.
So that website, essentially, what it did was, when people use hashtags on social media, it would go to corporate and they would look into all of them and then post them on that website. So I'll look into it. I don't know why it's not working, but that is the website. Maybe the server is down. I'm not really sure. I'll find out. But it's a really nice website. And again, please utilize Vet and Juju. They're here to support you in any way you need. And then whether it's training, whether it's social media help, reach out to them. Their emails are down here. And you can reach them by WhatsApp as well. Okay. Okay, so do's and don'ts of social media. Marcel, you wanna take the do's?
Sure. For some of the dues, we have followed the office and agent's social accounts, right? So that means that you're liking their content, you're following them. Post relevant content on consistent basis. No different than mailers or anything else that you get out there. You want to put new content up there, and it doesn't always have to be, you know, hey, I sold this. Hey, look at this. You know, I listed this. I sold that. You know, put different contents, whether it's something pertaining to spring or summer or whatever, different events that are going on in certain towns. You can do that. Also, too, we didn't have this on there. Like different groups, you know, especially in the towns. You know, if they're
And
having,
join. That's a good one. I forgot to put that on there.
joining town groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because then you could share that content from there. You want to show that you're a real person, not just a realtor. You have a life that's all it comes to. People want to work with people, you know. We already talked about like and share office content. Make sure to spell check. Make sure your stuff that's put out there, it looks good. And then remember to engage with your audience. So put thought-provoking stuff out there pertaining to real estate, like, you know, how much you think your home is worth, or, you know, name some towns that, you know, have great restaurants or anything like that where you're engaging with your audience. And then use relevant hashtags on the views. You know, the hashtags are to link to certain things. So when people are clicking on it, it actually goes back to what you're going, and then your photos will actually go into those groups where people are looking like them.
Right.
And please like other offices, corporate, share their content. We are allowed to share each other's content. We are allowed to share the corporate content. Cuba is always posting something on LinkedIn. So just share it. That's what I do. Just share it. It doesn't, you don't have to create something new. It's always informative, something that is done professionally. Just share that. It'll give you some exposure. And also to know that your leadership is with you there. There's such a great leadership that in no other company, the president or the CEO of the company is going to be your friend or on social media and comment on your posts. So this company is very different, and take advantage of that. Make sure you like the office page, you like me, not like me, but be friends with me on social media. Because if you're friends with me on social media, then we can tag you. If you're not, then we're having a hard time tagging people. So make sure everybody send me a friend request if you're not already.
And like the office page.
Yes. On Instagram.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. because I don't know why the tags don't always work, but we're trying to do the best we can.
Also, to just on that as well,
Yeah.
real quick, because for those of you that are using KV Core, it's very big on social media. You're gonna start seeing content of people putting out there, like and share that content as well. It
Right.
helps everyone.
And if you have not yet put your social media tags in the Excel sheet that Juju sent out, please get that done as well. It will save us some time rather than having to go back into each of your profiles on Zone. So get that done on the Google Sheet that you sent out. Some of the don'ts on social media. Many of you probably already know this, but avoid posting about politics and polarizing topics. It doesn't really matter what your personal opinion is on these things, but if you alienate half of the population, that's half of your customer base. Why would you why would you do that? Who cares who they vote for or what their opinion is on something? There's still, everyone needs a house. Everyone has to live somewhere. So they could be your customer. Don't alienate them. Don't advertise other agents' listings without consent. Whether it's our own office, well, our own office, I don't think we'll have an issue. I'm talking about other offices.
If you share it, they don't mind, but if you put it as your own, that's
Right.
not.
Always, but even if you say listed by this agent, reach out to them first, just if it's another brokerage. Ask them if it's okay. And make sure that it doesn't look like that it's your listing. Don't get involved in confrontational topics or comments. It's best to keep it professional. You could share your own life on your Facebook or Instagram. It's good to interact your business and personal, but make sure that whatever you're putting out there, keep in the back of your mind that you are a realtor, and in the front of your mind, not even the back. It should be always something that you should be okay with your client seeing, because they are seeing it, whether they comment or not. And don't write in all caps, because you don't want to seem like you're yelling at people, or I see this all the time on listings on the MLS. I don't know why people do it. It doesn't really come off as looking that good, so avoid that, please.
I think what's really annoying to me at this point, aside from the politics, religion,
Mhm.
all of that, is that realtors I'm seeing are complaining or making comments about clients that they have and saying what
Or your peers.
horrible clients, horrible realtors. I had this situation,
Right.
this client did this. Why? Why
Staying
would
away
you?
from negativity.
Why would you?
No negativity.
Yeah.
Comment.
If you want to
Why
vent,
would you say
yeah,
that?
if you want to vent, come into the office and vent to us.
We have a rubber room.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just so
yeah.
horrible when I
Yeah.
see realtors besmirching their other professionals. or
Unfortunately,
their
we don't
clients.
have it here,
No,
but you're right. We've seen a lot of that going on.
Right,
And then also bashing other realtors on your Facebook page.
right.
Then
other companies and
Yeah.
realtors.
bad for the
It's
industry
just-
altogether.
It's just not.
it just doesn't look good on you, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what others are doing, don't
Yeah.
do
And
it.
your
You
comments,
had a bad day or
Yeah.
what, call your mother and
Yeah.
complain to her.
yeah, your comments, reflect on the office as well. So just keep that in mind when you're,
Your social
Well,
media is your image.
right.
If you don't wanna be seen with bad hair or without makeup or without good clothes and magnets, that's how you should look at yourself on social media. You have to always look good. You don't know who's watching.
Mhm.
Well, that's why we have a code of ethics too. You know, if you have a
Right.
code of ethics, we're supposed to, there's pathway to professionalism, there's a code of ethics, we're supposed to be over here, you have a license, you have
Set your standards very,
yeah.
very high.
an obligation that others without our license do not have.
Correct. Any questions? Comments? Anything that you want to add? People on Zoom.
Hi, Ramit. Yeah, I actually, a lot of what you went over, I was actually going to do it tomorrow in my tech,
Oh.
Tech Tuesday.
That's okay.
I was, yeah,
Good.
I was going to go over branding and like how to put the email signature, how to, and like one of the things that I
Awesome.
saw on the OneSuite, a lot of agents don't have their profile image uploaded.
Yeah. So we're trying to, we're better than other offices. That much I can tell you, but we're trying to get the perfect.
Very, very important thing, your voicemail greeting. A lot of you do not have your voicemail greeting, including me.
I don't.
You don't even know that's the problem because you never call yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So I called you yesterday.
I always think I avoid your phone call sometimes. I'm on the phone.
But a professional
Right.
greeting on your voicemail is very, very important. So people know they're calling a realtor, even if it's a wrong number sometimes, they might.
And make sure your mailbox isn't full.
Mom.
I'm guilty of that.
Make sure your mailbox.
I think I'm good.
Moving on, last one, I think. There we go. Print advertising. So Najar has advertising rules, which everyone should take a look at. They can be found at this link right here. Briefly show everybody. So the advertising rules go over what you can and cannot put in advertising, the rules of how certain things should be put on there, the size of the office phone number versus your phone number, things like that, compliance related issues. If you go into that link right there, it's broken down into different links right here. So any questions that you have, let us know. If you're using One Design or other approved vendors, they're already formatted to work with the rules set forth by the Real Estate Commission. But if you're making your own signage on whatever website, not just signage, but postcards, door hangers, please know that you have to get that approved. Just so we know that whatever you're printing is compliant. Same goes for social media posts. There's certain things that are less, that are lax on social media. You don't necessarily need to have the office phone number, but you do need to have the ability for them, whoever sees it, to get back to the office phone number. So if you have a link,
Or in your profile.
yeah, or in your profile, the public needs to somehow be able to call the office from your social media. So that's really important. The whole point,
Always put a link to your website.
right? And you have to look at it from the consumer standpoint. If for some reason they can't get in touch with you, they should be able to call the office.
And speaking of that,
Yeah.
always make sure you answer your call or get back in a timely manner. Because in this day and age of communication, there's no
Right.
reason for somebody not to get back in half an hour or
Right.
an hour. Don't make it tomorrow. This is not
I
1995. You have to be, like, if somebody texts you, respond in a timely manner. It's, everybody is demanding a quick response.
Yeah, if I turn my phone over right now, I'm afraid to see what I'm gonna see.
Yeah.
It's been an hour.
If you're busy and you cannot, You have.
No,
to-
as long as I had a Facebook post on this last week. And people commented with different things that, it's what if you're a listing agent and you're at an appointment? I didn't mean ASAP, meaning half an hour. Within a certain,
Everybody can
Every-
say, I'll call you back.
exactly.
That's just-
And the iPhone and other, I don't know if Android does it too, it has,
just a
messages.
response to somebody who
Yeah,
goes,
auto
"Okay, you
responses.
heard that." That's
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll call you back in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all press of a button.
yeah, the point was a lot of agents avoid other agents right now.
Yes.
And whether it's on purpose or not,
Don't be one of those.
yeah, don't be
And
one of
put
those.
the fine for all you that you might lose if you don't
Yeah.
answer the call.
Usually agents know each other's phone numbers, but yeah, yes.
Maybe your mother. Make sure you answer back.
I was on the phone. I was on the phone. I called her back 2 hours later. Okay.
Yeah, as a mother, you sleep with your phone
Right.
next to your bed.
As a realtor, so do you.
Yeah.
As a realtor, you sleep with your phone too. And in the shower for Zillow calls, Okay. Okay, so make sure all links and QR codes are functioning properly. That's really important. Whether it's for your open house registration or your QR codes on your postcards, before they're printed and before they go out, test them yourself. It's something that you could take for granted and then regret later on. So if it's a QR code, you could usually go back even after the fact and change the link. But that's something you want to definitely take a look into. Use the appropriate color codes and brand guidelines. On the branding website, if we can go back. So when you're on the branding website, you have the office brand or styling. Here we go. Wait, what? Or was it not styling? Logo. Here we go. Thank you. So your logos can be downloaded here. We advise you to download the ones that are on the affiliate page. That's what I was doing. What happened to that?
You just go to essentials and put your,
Hold on. No, it's here. I don't know why it's under styling. When you put in Central, you can download the logo kit. The logo kit will have Central in the DBA section, as well as your email signature. Juju will be going over this tomorrow. And what I wanted to show you was the color codes that is under, should be here, right?
almost each and every one of you joins this company because of the branding.
Right.
And then now that you're here, you're not using it. So
Let's
make
see.
sure you use it. And yeah, we have really beautiful, beautiful branding and I can change colors.
Here we go.
So just use it.
So the color codes are here. Really unique color codes. Even the black is like, it's not your typical black. So use the color codes when you're on PowerPoint or whatever website you're on with the colors. The codes are here to use. And then you have the fonts as well. So they can be downloaded and utilized on whatever you're doing. Okay.
If you're dealing with a professional printer, they can do all that.
Yes.
Our branding
Yeah.
page is open to the public.
Yeah.
So.
There's also a website. There's a website called font.com, which you could essentially download any font that exists if you know the name. So if you can't find it on the branding website, you can come here and figure it out. Any questions, you can reach out to us. And make sure the office address, phone number is clearly visible on all advertising. We did go over that but it really just comes down to being able to let the consumers see, when they glance at something, they should right away be able to see where the office phone number is. It shouldn't be hidden. So that's pretty much it. Any other questions that anybody on Zoom has, anybody in the office? Anything that you want to add? This was our preliminary compliance overview. We'll be doing this monthly for those of you that didn't attend, and I'll add and take away things as needed. Okay. Anything else? Good. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will send this out to everybody by the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rahmeet.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You.
So this one, the Brandon thing doesn't work. No, this one said it's not working, but it's just- but maybe that's it. I fixed everything.
So
Just need-